It's morning here in Milan, Italy. My name is Godwin Iweajuwa, and you are welcome to News Echoes World Affairs. This Friday, the first day of the month of March 2022. We are happy to usher into the new month. We want to welcome our viewers, wishing you a happy new month. And we're here to give our updates as usual. I'm here with my colleagues and coordinators from different parts of the world. Joining me in faraway Lagos, Nigeria is our man, a political analyst, Olayinka Raji. Yinka Raji, good morning, sir.
Good morning, SSM. Welcome to a happy new month. God bless our deeds.
Good. Happy new month. And joining us also in faraway Toronto, Canada is our man, Sir George Chukwu. Happy new month, Sir George.
Happy new month and good morning. Good morning, Mike Godwin. Good morning, Raji, and good morning, viewers from around the world. Welcome to our show today.
Good morning.
Morning. Yes, you guys won't believe. I think the topic, the headline caught a lot of people. We have just some big numbers here already with us. So viewers, you're welcome. You are welcome on our Friday edition of News Echoes Global Affairs. And yes, it is a tough one. Devastation in Gaza. Israel is blowing off the Hamas people, and we're going to talk about that. But before, let's look into some news headline, gentlemen. Some news headline, just a few of them. The U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is under fire for hiding his health status. This morning, I think he's going to come before the House to explain why he didn't tell them what was happening. So they say it's totally unacceptable that it took over 3 days to inform the president and the Secretary of Defense that he was in the hospital and he was not in control of the Pentagon. That's the headquarters of defense in America. Also, we're seeing this from China and Pakistan. It says China has rolled over $2 billion loan to the Pakistan government to ease the economic pressure. This is our source in China telling us this. The loan was actually scheduled to be repaid in March. It's coming late, and now the repayment will be coming late too. We are having this also from Thailand. Thailand says they have banned every recreational use of marijuana. Every recreational use of marijuana. You, our viewers listening, if you're in Thailand, you can't smoke marijuana because the government has banned it. Also, New Zealand says they've listed Hamas as a terrorist group, and they've imposed ban on the extreme Israel settlers. This decision was carried out this morning so that they can protect some financial transactions and some materials provided in all of this. So this is coming from New Zealand. And also on the news, let's look into the sport. Juventus midfielder, here where I am in Italy, Juve is here, and the midfielder is called Pogba. Paul has been given a 4-year ban for doping. Paul, we know, is that French African player in Juve. So Pogba is now going to be held down for 4 years because he's been caught for doping. He says he'll be appealing the ruling anyway. Then also in the spotlight, let's see this one. Ronaldo is banned also from one match for making gesture to fans, explicit gesture to fans after Messi chants. So these are headlines this morning in the news. Viewers, you are welcome. George and Raji, let's go into the discussion. But before then, let's go on this small break. Thank you. Guys, I don't know, is there any one of the headlines that caught your interest you want to talk about? Yes, you can talk about it.
Well, I can talk about the marijuana in Thailand. I don't know what is the motivation behind it. And it is difficult sometimes when countries are failing to follow the trend of our current what is going on around the world. I guess I don't know how to describe that, because if they are banning it, many countries are now that have jailed thousands of youths, and thousands of
Mhm,
folks have
mhm,
actually changed their mind and said that
mhm,
marijuana is now acceptable as
mhm,
long as it's used, with control, just like a alcoholic substance. So
mhm,
I'm not quite sure what is the motivation behind that one. One
mhm,
thing that is for sure, the more they ban it, I think is only against the government GDP. The only thing they can do is to just control it, like the country of Canada controls it, because marijuana has a lot of use. If it's used in a proper way,
mhm,
marijuana can be
Yes,
used
yes.
to cure a lot of diseases and aid in helping some people. There
mhm,
is what you call medical marijuana, which is being used to cure people that are epileptic, some people that have
Mm,
cancer, whatever the case might be. So the complete and absolute, rejection of that is, tells a lot about the state of a nation. So that's what I
mhm.
can say about that.
Okay, that's okay.
mm,
Yes, from your
mm,
viewpoint, sensible, makes sense. America, we know now, is making
mm.
a lot of money from the recreational marijuana sales. Okay, Raji, is there anything you're saying? Do we go straight into the
Yes.
discussion now? Good. Our
No,
headline.
let me just add 1 or 2 points.
Mhm.
There was no reason whatsoever ab initio for banning marijuana. There was no reason why. Why it was banned has always been controversial. That's all I want to say to you. Mm.
Okay, thank you. All right, gentlemen, let's go into the topic. This morning, even before we came here, I was talking to Rajiv behind the covers. We had some reactions from our viewers. Some viewers were ready and they were seated waiting for us. And I think it's because of what happened yesterday in the Hamas Israel war. So there was devastation in Gaza, and Israel is raging so hard. As at this morning, now the number has increased. Yet last night it was 112 people that were killed and several hundred injured in the Gaza strike after Israel opened fire on Palestinian civilians that were waiting for food. And that's the sad part of it. But as at this morning, the number has increased to about 122 people. The Israel military and eyewitnesses say that these were people queued up for food, and they were killed. So, gentlemen, yes, we know October 7 is the initial point of all of this, but don't you think Israel is taking it further? It's going beyond what it should be. Let me start with George. George, yesterday the killing in Gaza. People queued up for food, but they were shot.
Well, it is very sad, and such act ought to be condemned. And I believe that, I condemn such act, especially when it comes to humanitarian and compassion angle of things. It's almost like a child that messed up, maybe broke the most important crystal in the house, and then you start beating up the child, and you beat up the child to the point of taking the child to the hospital. You become responsible. You have to be held accountable for such abuse. Number one is enough is enough. And I believe that, this has gone to the point now where Benjamin Netanyahu is actually fueling this thing because of what is behind what he was running away from. If you remember before this strike, Benjamin Netanyahu was in trouble. He was trying to change the judicial system in take powers away from the judicial system in Israel, simply because he was found guilty for something, and now he being the prime minister, so he was trying to muscle himself away from all of that stuff. People were against it. So, and I believe that it is it's time. You know, the world is calling for the ceasefire. Let it happen. People are dying. These are human beings, for goodness sake. You know, generations of people are being wiped away. 30,000 people. 30,000 people.
Yeah.
And also, while we are at it, I'm calling on Hamas. Release all the hostages immediately so that they will stop all these killings. Release all the hostages and let there be a ceasefire right away so that people can, you know, let these people just survive. The people that, elderly people that cannot eat, young children are dying daily. You know, it doesn't really make any sense anymore. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. Yes, straight up from George. Yes, George. 30,000 people have been killed so far in Gaza since the Israel war that began in October, and the numbers are increasing. Raji, what's
Yes,
going
sir.
on? Yes, what's going on? This is not fair. Killing people that just queued up to eat food, to come and take food.
In the first instance, I do not agree about the terms that are being used, like there's a war in Gaza. There's no war.
There's no
What is
war.
happening is pure, brutal Israeli aggression, genocidal invasion of Gaza. Now, as George mentioned, a week before the October 7th, there was going to be protest in the whole of Israel against Netanyahu.
Mhm.
He needed something. And I still believe that the October 7th invasion was contrived.
Okay.
Because if you understand the security situation around Gaza, you will realize that even a flying around is noticed. How come Hamas came in with crude machinery and were sort of ravaging the whole place for hours before there was military reaction from the Israeli defense forces? The whole thing was contrived. And just like the case that happens with most American presidential elections, whenever an American president is in trouble about the next elections, he looks for a war. And then it's the same thing that happened with Netanyahu. He was in trouble. There was going to be demonstrations across the whole of Israel against his rule because of his oppression of the judiciary. And he needed something. And that invasion of October 7th. So let's put that aside. Then about the war. A war is between two armies. Where is the army of the Palestinians fighting the Israeli army? So there are actually no war. There's clear, pure brigandage against the people of Gaza. And now the intention of Netanyahu, is to rid the whole of Gaza of Palestinians, so that Israel will have access to the trillions of cubic liters of gas in the sea across Gaza. And then they want to build a Ben Gurion canal that will be yes, that will displace the Suez Canal. The Suez Canal is a single track canal, but the Ben Gurion Canal will provide a two-way traffic. And that's all. So whatever is happening there is pure wickedness. Pure wickedness, and there's no way the Palestinians will leave Gaza. So Israel should be ready to kill 2 million people. There's no way.
They won't kill 2 million people.
So there's no war. There's brigandage. There's wicked.
George, go ahead. You want to say something? Because
yes,
Hamas,
and I'm surprised. Okay. And I'm surprised. And I'm
okay, let George speak. George, go ahead. Go ahead, George.
I agree with what Raji is saying, but I do disagree with the fact that the invasion that took place where they kidnapped people and killed people was contrived. I don't believe that, because, and then you mentioning also that the US, whenever a president is in trouble, they will try to go to war. We only seen that with the type of person that would do something like that is Trump. I haven't seen another president that was actually in trouble and then because of that go to war. Because they just don't go to war. The House must approve the war before they go to war. In America, it
Oh, well,
doesn't
Bill
happen
Clinton
that way.
was. Bill, it happens. Bill Clinton
No,
was.
no. The House
George Bush,
approved.
Bush
Excuse
was.
me. The House approved. When the House approves the war, it is not the president who is warring. It is America that is warring. So it doesn't happen that way. The people they don't have a dictatorial type of government in America. You just don't go to war like that. So you have to understand there are processes to go through in order for you to go to war and put people's lives in danger. We understand during the George Bush era, you have to remember what happened. Some, the Twin Towers were burned down and they were about to, massacre, different people. So now they had to put somebody responsible for that. Yeah, they went to Iraq and devastated Iraq simply because they were looking for an scapegoat, and Iraq became a scapegoat. And the only reason why they went there was because they felt that the leader had weapons of mass destruction, which came out to be a lie at the end. So now, but to say that the presidents in America, they go to war whenever there is trouble, it doesn't happen that way. Not at all. They might
I'll
have
give you a
given
list.
some
I'll give you a
information.
list.
Anyway, I don't know
I'll give you.
how
I'll
much
give
you
you a
about
list.
that, but to say what
And
I'm
then
saying
and then
is
and
when it
then
comes
and then
when
and then on the twin towers
hold tight,
on
hold
the
tight.
on the twin
When-
towers.
Can you
Okay.
allow me to talk, please, sir? Thank you. So what I'm saying
Please
is
go
this.
ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I'm saying is this. To say that Benjamin Netanyahu was behind the Palestinians or Hamas coming in to destroy and kill their people, that's an atrocious statement. You cannot say that. That is a conspiracy
I did not say.
theory.
No. You got me wrong. I'm not saying Netanyahu was. I'm saying that the attack was contrived.
Okay.
The point is, Benjamin Netanyahu and the system was fighting against the judicial system. Their attention was away, and they were concentrating on that. A lot of people were they've already started mass protest against him. They've done several. So their attention was taken away from their defense. That's why it took so long. So you have to understand the system and the way.
Anyway, the numbers are increasing. The numbers are increasing. Hamas has not confirmed a lot of things. We're still waiting, but a Russian official said all the parties have to agree to participate in a peace treaty. Also, Hamas is trying to meet in Moscow today, Friday, to discuss forming a new government after the Palestinian Authority cabinet resigned on Monday. So this is what we're following as real time as we're going on with the story here in our studio. So viewers, you are listening to real time information on the Hamas-Israel situation. Deaths, lots of people have died, and the number is still increasing. So this is a picture of some of those that were taken from the scene, and we are still following the story. Gentlemen, let's move into some other stories again. We have a lot to cover here. Our Russian coordinator is not here, so we might keep the story of Russia maybe till it comes, because this morning the man Alexei Navalny is being buried, and but they won't take his body. No vehicle wants to take his body to Moscow for the funeral because they are afraid of what could happen with Putin. So, but we want to hear that from somebody, our man there, witnessing it all. So let's go on to more other news. Al Jazeera is reporting something very strong, gentlemen. Al Jazeera is telling us that there is an EU-funded security force that helped crush Senegal's democracy protest. I don't know if any of you have that story. It's a strong story coming in now. So what we are seeing is the EU, European Union elite group, has trained some Senegal soldiers, Senegal police unit. And what they did was to stop that protest, stop what the Senegalese were doing, protesting against the government and all that. So we're wondering, why will European Union be putting their nose into our affairs again in this way, when we say it's time to lay off from Africa, you know? Raji, what will you say? Do you have that story? It's coming from Al Jazeera. It's coming in this morning. Go ahead. I know you follow African updates. Go ahead, Raji.
I don't have that story, but I know that Senegal and I know that I know that Senegal and Ivory Coast have always been the jewels in the crown of the French, and therefore they want to keep control of Senegal and Ivory Coast. The other countries are not so much important, like Mali or Niger or Guinea, but Senegal and Ivory Coast have been very, very important to France. I don't know why.
Oh, there, George, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes. Do you have that story too? Do you have anything on that story?
What we
support stopping any protests. EU is funding the elite police unit to stop any protest against the government of. That means they are in support of Sanko. Sanko's. I mean the other man's. The Senegal president's sale. They are in support of him, probably staying longer than necessary for them to want to stop every resistance and protest. George, what will you say about this?
Well, it's a little too early to determine whether what Al Jazeera is reporting is true or not. Al Jazeera is what I will call I don't know. I can't condemn it because I'm not quite sure. But if that is the case, I think it needs to be looked into. If they are sending troops to stop the pro-democracy protest in Senegal, which is unacceptable. How are we promoting democracy around the world? And then somebody wants to stay there for life, become a dictator, a life president, and you're sending troops to go and stop people that are doing pro-democracy. I don't see it as being plausible. Possibly, what happened was maybe the man must have asked for help, and the help came there, and then it became another thing altogether. But if that is the case and it's found out, they ought to be sanctioned for such a thing, because it's not right.
Okay. Thank you, George. You said something initially. Let's still look deep into this topic, into that issue. But that's what Al Jazeera is reporting, and it's on their front page, headline page in their website, that Senegal, that EU, there's an elite EU-trained Senegal police unit that stopped, that did everything to quash the popular movement by the Senegalese against President movement.
So question is, did they import mercenaries to do this, or were they using locally trained police force to do this? Because you have to understand,
it's a locally trained Senegalese police unit.
Okay, so that means, so how are we sure now? How are we blaming EU to be the one doing this when the man that is in power right now could have, sent the forces to do this? Why are we blaming it outside the country? What influence would they have if they sent money to this man, if he asked for some help, and they send money to him, or maybe he's using money that was given to him for some other reason to release his own forces against these pro-democracy people. How do we know that EU was the one who now came inside the Senegal
Yeah.
and
Yes.
told the people to go
It's
and
a
do
joint
this?
investigation going on, and between Al Jazeera and a foundation called Paul
A lot of network issues.
Foundation revealed that this is what is going on. So, but let's put our eyes there, gentlemen. Let's put our eyes there. But that's on the front page of Al Jazeera, and I thought it was worth bringing up to our international audience this morning. So let's move on, George.
Right now, we can call it an allegation, which is unproven. It's just an alleged thing that is going on in there. Because I don't see that being the case. I'm not saying that they don't not influencing it, maybe behind the scenes, but to openly accuse EU for doing this is something that doesn't seem plausible when they have a man who is fighting to stay there, still have the authority to release his own forces against the people that are trying to, oust him democratically.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Raji, I hope your network is firm now. Do you have any last?
Yeah, I think so.
That? You were talking before you went off. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes. It's actually news media nowadays come with a lot of perspectives. If there's actually an EU crack force operating in Senegal, I think it is very, very obnoxious. I don't think that the EU or France should hide behind the EU and interfere in African affairs. I think if there's that band, then that band should be disbanded and should be asked to leave the country. It is also unquestionable for President Baal to be using external forces against his own people. It's unquestionable. He knows how he came in. He knows how the people had to fight for him to come in. So why is he now fighting the people?
Absolutely.
He's not fighting the people. It is quite unquestionable that he's doing it, and that the EU should please keep their nose out of African affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Before we go in for a small break, let's just look at this issue of New Zealand listing Hamas as a terrorist group. It's there in the headline today. Now, if New Zealand is doing that, will other Europeans also follow? Will this also be, because as at last year, Hamas is still considered an organization, not a terrorist group. But New Zealand has taken this step now. Don't you think it will replicate with most European countries, EU even, Canada, America will begin to say, yes. What do you guys think?
I think it's actually a show of a lack of humanity and conscience on the part of New Zealand to be branding Hamas a terrorist organization at this time, considering the terrorism that the Palestinian people. I think it's patently unfair. I think if there should have been any criticism from New Zealand, it should have criticized the way the Israeli government is perpetrating genocide all across Gaza and even the West Bank.
George.
Well, if it smells like a fish and tastes like fish, possibly it is a fish. I mean, for them to have penetrated into the October 7th thing that took place, I mean, I'm not quite sure if they will brand, IPOB, that is just an organization, seeking for a cessation of the eastern part of Nigeria from, if they can brand them a terrorist organization when they have not come out to kill any individual with weapons or whatever the case might be, then what about, a group of people that came into a nation massacred a lot of people, and took hostages and still holding them up until today, what would you call them? So, that's the question that you have to ask. That doesn't mean that I am in line with the number of people that are being killed in Palestine. That doesn't mean that the war ought to continue. As a matter of fact, it is a war, because they've been sending, they've been fighting Israel troops into, trying to, send all kinds of weapons into the nation, only that Israel is well equipped to stop some of these, weapons or the attack that they are doing. Yes, Israel is much more stronger than Hamas is. So if it sounds like that, and there are still, still going to different parts of the world and helping other terrorist organizations are fighting against Israel, what do you call it? What would you call that? No, that's a question. Because yeah, it's a question. You come into a nation and you kidnap, hundreds of people, killed 1,000 plus, and then and continue to fire into Israel. You had, which is already been proven that Iran is supplying them weapons. What do you call that? It is a war.
What do you call that? Okay.
Yes, it is a war.
It's a war. It's a war. Gentlemen,
Yes.
let's go on a break. Let's go small break. More topics, more issues to dive into. Viewers, you are tuned in to SSM News Echoes Friday World Affairs. And we're looking at all those issues that matters to us as it also concerns us. So we'll be back. Don't touch the dial. George, Raji, you guys stay on point. We'll be back. Thank you.
A year ago, I wrote a book titled The Final Solution, and I was trying to say to the rest of the world that there are challenges ahead. Now, a prophecy did come, and that prophecy is coming to pass. But I'm telling you, the final solution has been found many years ago in the Bible, because the Bible simply says righteousness exalts a nation and sin is a reproach to the people. So I want you to know that you can get solutions to problems in Ukraine, in Russia, in Nigeria, indeed all parts of the world. We need that solution, and the solution is straightforward. Please get a copy of my book. It is the Final Solution by Bishop Shegun Johnson, and you can find it in Kindle, in Amazon. Just type Bishop Shegun Johnson, The Final Solution. It's very, very small book you can read within 2 hours, but it contains the final solution. Do get a copy. Not getting it is doing disservice to humanity. Don't forget The Final Solution.
Hi there, I'm Mary Keurig, and I am a businesswoman in the United States, but I'm also the Global Content Vice President for the Sub-Saharan Open University in Nigeria. I could not be prouder to work with Dr. Osita Anamika and his team on helping to create not just entrepreneurs and skill-based talent that will get out into the workforce and make a living for themselves, but also young leaders. And to that end, with this integrity-rich university environment that's accredited now, and it's just an amazing opportunity for anyone there of any age to jump on board and learn, we want to let you know about a new offering that we have. We have a global governance and diplomacy course now provided by a whole team of people that crosses several countries to put together these resources and lots of great information for those of you who might be on the path toward public service and diplomatic service, NGO leadership, that sort of thing. We hope that you will walk through this open door and enjoy.
Viewers, gentlemen, we're back. Friday News Echoes World Affairs. George, It's good to have you here, Raji. It's good to have you here. Now, something is happening while we're talking, as we're talking now. One major event happening is our president is in Doha, Qatar, on an official visit to the Middle East. President Bola Tinubu just arrived Doha, and while he's in Doha, earlier before he even came, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, has said that Nigeria-Qatar has signed a gas cooperation pact that will pave way for global clean energy transformation. This our Minister of Foreign Affairs saying this. So, gentlemen, will anything come out of all of these pact and cooperation? Does it yield anything? It sounds like a good idea, but most times we just hear the letters. We don't see nothing comes to the surface. Nothing comes out to the light. George, Nigeria-Qatar has signed a gas cooperation that will pave way for global clean energy emission. Will it work?
Well, we wait and see, because all we have heard so far in almost a year of inauguration of Ahmed Tinubu has been massive, traveling, spending money from one part of the world to another, and then yet at the back of his house is people dying of hunger. The condition of the insecurity is worsening. People are just, I don't know, I think that mostly what you need to do, if you want to invite guests to come and eat in your house, the first thing you need to do is concentrate on cleaning your house, making sure that there is a conducive atmosphere for people to come and sit, a clean place for them to come and eat, not just allowing your house to be so ransacked with all manner of rubbish, and then you're out there, sourcing for this and sourcing for that, and taking, hundreds of people with you, spending the money that we are saying that we can be using to increase the, local production of food and all that kind of stuff. Stay home and deal with that situation. Create a good condition in your house. Then bring people to come and do business with you. It almost seems as if the president is trying to still continue to legitimize his presidency. Look at how many times he's been out of the country more than even the former president in 1 year alone. In 1 year, you're going on a private visit to France. What did that bring about? You're going on this particular trip. They rejected you at the very beginning, but diplomatically now changed their mind for you to come and sign contract. Does it take all of that? Does it take all these people for you to go to these places, taking your sons, using the money that we are supposed to be using to fix the nation? I don't see that as in a positive thing. Clean your house first, and then we can be able to talk about bringing people, bringing businesses and all that kind of stuff. We can increase in agriculture. What are you doing about that?
Okay.
What are you doing so that people can feed? And so we can bring in international businesses into the country so people can get employment. This is just almost like putting the cart before the horse.
Sounds good, George. But this new arrangement between Nigeria and Qatar, they say, is to foster gas diplomacy and the energy transition. So they want to move from that non-renewable energy to a more refined energy. Raji, I think this might work for us, since we have that huge metric number of gas, all that. What do you think, Raji? Signing this pact with Qatar, and we know Qatar has done pretty well with their own oil, their gas. So, go ahead, Raji.
First and foremost, I questioned the need for that Qatar trip, because I don't see how much investment Qatar will bring into Nigeria. And then, pardon my nice school education, all that they are saying about gas and energy and whatever, it's clearly above my head. If I look at the details, I see it's a lot of words signifying nothing. I don't see what has Qatar done with their gas that we cannot be able to do with ours. What is there? I don't see. That trip is a waste of money and of time. Where there are more important issues at home to sit down and find answers to. So it's a waste. It's a bloody waste of money and time. And I don't see anything good coming out of it. Just a bloody waste of money and time.
Okay. Anyway, the minister said, yeah, go ahead, George.
It's just nothing but a parade of nonsense that doesn't even make any. I mean, come on. Your house is on fire. You're there chasing birds on the air instead of trying to clean up your house. You know, people are dying of hunger.
Not exactly on fire anyway, but close.
So what?
Is it not exactly on fire but close?
I said the house is not exactly on fire but close.
It's an analogy of your house being on fire, and then you're asking, did he burn the beard of the Reverend Father? No, the point is this: you got to be there, stay home, begin to clean up the mess that is at home. You going out there to search for businesses and making noise internationally. While meanwhile in your home, you can be working with the people that bring infrastructure to mechanize agriculture. Okay. Get people back to work by cleaning up the security system. Put infrastructure together so that they can logistically goods can move from one area to another. But what you're doing is just flying all over the world, talking about this business and that business. You have to be ready so that when the businesses come, right now Nigeria needs to be over. The whole entire system needs to be overhauled from the foundation. Money, billions and trillions are leaving the country untraced, and you're there trying to, bring more. No, stay home and clean up the system. Overhaul the whole entire system so that when the money starts coming in from gas and any other, it will be funneled towards the government, not towards the individual pockets.
Okay. Anyway, what the minister is saying is that Nigeria requires a partner like Qatar that shares similar, we have similar natural resources, the gas as our resource. So he says they want to share this partnership so they can develop that gas assets and expand the market share for the benefit of both countries. Let's see how that works out. Let's see how that plays out. But yes, you men are putting it out. We are spending too much on frivolous movements, and these movements could just be kept until we've tidied up a lot of things. And George, I align with you, because when you keep your house clean, for example, you will naturally attract friends.
Exactly.
A clean man, a man that looks good, that's all tidied up. You just attract friends to yourself. So investors will come if our country is tidied up, security-wise, electricity, social amenities, all these simple, basic things. Raji? Okay, yes. Gentlemen, let's move on. Our man is not here from Moscow, Russia, but we just have to talk on this because
maybe let's wait. Let's talk about the obesity situation before maybe he can come later.
Okay. Let's see if he will come. That's correct. Health talk. Viewers, you are tuned into our program SSM News Echoes Today Global Affairs. We want to talk about health. Health is important. Good health matters. A healthy person is a productive person. Now, it has come to the notice, analysts have said that there are 1 billion people in the world that live with obesity. Obesity is that, tendency to also be prone to diabetes, and a lot of things follow it. So they said more than 1 billion children, adolescents, adults live with obesity around the world. and it's also a common form of malnutrition that affects many people. So obesity is also malnutrition because you're eating. So, gentlemen, let's talk about obesity. But to take note that obesity can be balanced if some people are also starved in Africa. This part of the world, the Western world, is obese, eating too much and drinking too much. Meanwhile, in some part of the world, they are not even seeing. They can't even see one meal to eat in a day. Let's come, George. Obesity.
Obesity there are so many causes that can actually, a combination of factors can bring about obesity. Number one is genetics. Could be because of unhealthy diet. It could be lack of physical activity. Psychological factors like depression. Some people, they binge when they're depressed. You see that a lot with people. Some people, when they are depressed and things are not going well, they just start shoving food into their mouth. But it all depends on the type of food that you eat. Also, if you eat balanced diet, it is better. Sometimes when you are just eating carbohydrates, especially complex carbohydrates, like somebody, like in Nigeria situation, you're eating apple and gari with no meat or whatever to, just to balance the diet. It could become an issue. If you're in Milan, all you do is just eat pasta, no vegetable, no meat, it could be an issue there. Psychological factors, also socio-economic status can bring about that. Some people are obese because they eat too much. And when you see that in North America, you see obesity among certain group of people because they eat a lot of fast food. Fast food, burgers, fried chicken, all those type of things. This is what you see commonly in America and commonly maybe here in Canada when people are just, based on those things. But one thing that I can tell you is, we have seen studies come before. One study came around one time and said, oh, you should never drink coffee. Then another one say, oh, 1 cup is enough. And another one say, if you drink 6 cups of coffee a day, that is good for your health. So some of these studies, I don't know how to really take them. Some will say, sit down for 6 hours. Others say, don't even sit at all. Studies will come and where are you doing this study? Is it really balanced? Did you go to Africa? Did you go to Asia? Is there a balance to 220 million people that you were studying? Where are they from? How balanced is that situation? Did you go into the inner parts of certain countries to find out all these things in order to bring a balanced statistical analysis that can say, yes, indeed, it is true? I don't know. But we are taking their word.
We don't know, but today 1 billion people have been.
Another factor I want to point out is because of the pandemic. You remember the pandemic that many people were locked up in the house and they were eating with no activity. That is another thing that could have caused a lot of obesity. Some people people are working from home. Many people in civilized countries are working from home. And then you'll be at your job and then you go to the refrigerator, you're grabbing and eating. But if you were in the office, you will not have that opportunity. Only when you have time to go to the, during your lunchtime, you can eat and come back to your desk. But right now, people are working from home. Once you feel a little bit woozy, you go to the kitchen, open your refrigerator, you're chewing and you're eating while you're working. So that's another cause that could become an issue, especially in North America, civilized countries.
Anyway, staggering statistics that is reaching us says 1 billion people around the world are now obese. But Raji, in Africa, we have a different situation. You know this.
Yes.
The situation is people are not even eating at all. People are hungry. People are starving. Malnutrition on the other side. The opposite of obesity. People are starving, waking up, no food, nothing nourishing. Even when they eat, it's not nourishing. It's no nutrients. Raji, so what will you say? But the statistic is confirmed. Go ahead.
Yes, statistics will show where they are made, and most of the people who are obese are probably in North America and part of Europe. I don't see too many people obese in Africa. And as even as George had mentioned, eating apple and gari on a regular basis. The situation in Africa is such that by the time you eat apple and gari, you are forced to do a lot of physical exercises that will now that will now
On the whole,
so you don't even have the chance to put on any weight because the conditions are such that you have to be active. Now, getting to statistics,
Mm-hmm.
it has been reported that most scientific studies actually confirm what the sponsors want. Therefore, if sponsors want you to come out with the fact that cigarette is good for your health,
Mm-hmm.
your your statistics will move towards that point. So another thing that is very very gruesome in the in not in the so-called civilized countries is the oils they eat. The oils. Most of the oils they eat are saturated industrial oils, like canola oil, like sunflower oil, but by the time you are eating palm oil, you are eating coconut oil, you are eating groundnut oil, you are eating seed oils, not industrial oils. You will find out that you are healthier. You are healthier than all those. I eat mainly palm oil and coconut oil. And even though it is genetic that we are not very fat in our family, I don't see any reason why across the whole state of Osun, where we have obesity as a problem. The basic
Wow.
food we eat is probably sweet potatoes, which is very very good form of glucose, form of carbohydrates for you. So the oils are one of the main issues. It is those oils that they use for all the fast foods, and therefore it's easy for you to be obese, especially where there's not a lot of food
Where they're
for
not,
food.
not
And
food.
yes,
can I add to that?
Yes.
so
This is a very important and interesting topic. We have viewers clicking the thumb like from some of the handles.
In, act,
And yes, go ahead, George.
in actuality, I want to agree with Raji here because, palm oil is actually one of the healthiest oil you can ever use.
yes,
In the past, and I had an argument with a medical doctor here who was my doctor. And then he was talking about cholesterol and all those things. And he was telling me that I need to stop eating palm oil. I said, no, palm oil actually is one of the best oil. It has already been, when, there was a scientific study that was done that actually palm oil can lengthen your life. Palm oil can actually clean your system. And it was done openly. Yes, palm oil is one of the best oil you can ever use because it does a lot of benefits. There is something that is contained in, if well used. As a matter of fact, they started doing this. Malaysia, their GDP, we gave Malaysia in the 70s palm kernels as a gift during the Festac time. Today, as we speak, their GDP is almost 80% exportation of palm oil. And do you know that the country that gave Malaysia those seeds are buying importing palm oil, which is Nigeria? And let me tell you something else that is happening in Europe, in most European countries and North America. Do you know that some of the people that have discovered the benefits of palm oil, they use it to cook and they use it to eat their oatmeal? Yes.
And
so
we processed palm oil you're talking about now. The one
I'm talking about well processed palm oil. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
So these are the things, and then coconut oil is also very healthy because it's easy to dissolve rather than those gawky type of oil that Raju was talking about before. That can clog your arteries.
Health talk, viewers. Health talk, and we've said this here. I see the viewers really following up on this. So health talk, 1 billion people presently are obese. So please watch what you eat. Obesity leads to other sicknesses, the diabetes and all this thing, heart failure comes from being obese. So let's watch what we eat. Let's control
And
what we
do and also do walk. You don't have to
Exercises.
drive everywhere. You don't have to drive
walk
everywhere.
around.
You can actually, if
Stretch
you
of
have
the
a
legs.
grocery store where you can go and walk rather than driving, do so, because it's very healthy for you.
Good. Health talk, people. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Let's round up with this one. Right now, we're speaking Navalny. We all know the story of the Russian opposition leader that was killed. I think that that was in sometime in
died.
February. Yes, sometime in February.
He
Now,
died,
today,
not killed.
okay,
Who
died. He
died?
died. He
Who
died.
died?
Anyway, today he's been buried, but the driver of the hearse, the vehicle that will take the body, says they won't take the body because they don't know what will happen when they go to Moscow. So it looks like it's going to be a rough funeral there. But today he'll be buried by 2 p.m. I think 2 p.m. Nigerian time. Navalny died February 16th. Penal colony, that's sickness, while he was in Siberia, serving a 19-year-old sentence for being found guilty of creating extremity in his speech and what he was doing. So anyway, today he's been buried. Gentlemen, what do you want to say about Alexei Navalny? Any comment?
Can I go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think it's quite petty that even in death he will be denied a honorable burial. I think it's quite petty. It's quite unbecoming of a great nation like Russia. I think it's quite petty. Let the guy has died for whatever reason. Give him a honorable burial and let these people go and bury him.
Let the people
Yes.
George,
All I have to say,
I know
when
you
you have
have
an
a lot to say.
when you have an emperor,
Okay.
when you have an emperor who wants to be a lifetime emperor, please be careful. Because if there is no way for you to escape coming after the emperor, you gotta use wisdom. I don't think that man should have gone back to Russia. If he did not go back to Russia, he would have been alive today. And he would have been fighting also from outside of the country. You know, they tried to kill him in I think it was in Germany or somewhere like that before, and they did not get him. And all of a sudden now he's in there. A day before he was healthy, moving around, doing everything, and then in 24 hours, in one scoop of whatever that took place, he is dead. Now, are we going to say that he was killed? It's alleged that he was killed. Every intelligent individual, knowing the election that is coming into Russia, will know that this man was killed. It wasn't his time to go, whether we like it or not. So it's an allegation, but most probably, based on statistical analysis and everything that has happened to anybody that comes against an emperor, it can tell you that he did not die a natural death. And why was his body kept for so long before it was released?
Wisdom.
Yeah, all right,
wisdom, and courage and foolhardiness. A live dog is better than a dead lion.
That's
a live dog is better than a dead lion. Gentlemen, let's go out with this.
Exactly. Exactly.
Heard
Thank you, Raji, for
live
that. Thank you, Raji.
Better than a dead lion. And
yes.
Please, let's all be careful. Let's be diplomatic.
No. Please. Can I make a final comment?
Yeah, go ahead.
We should stop shoving democracy, shoving it on every throat, on a global level. Where democracy can work, let it work, let it be encouraged. There are many nations that have refused democracy. and you're shoving it, and then what is happening in there is they're manipulating the system and calling it a democratic system, but we all know that it's not working there. People are manipulating. Yes. So let's stop it. Maybe we can bring any other type of government, that can, bring people into it rather than forcing it on people, and people are dying unnecessarily.
All right, George, let's go. Monday we'll be back with more news for viewers. Thank you for tuning in. News Echoes, Global Africa, World Affairs, all of this program give you updates, and we've just done the World Affairs today, Friday, first day of March. Happy new month again. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. See you next week. Have a beautiful weekend. Enjoy the weekend with your families. God bless you.
God bless you.